What's up, party people? Today, we are going to talk about podcasting. Ooh, ooh. Alrighty. Guess what you are watching? A podcast show. Guess what you're listening to? A podcast. So, I want to tell you a little story time with Sharon, about why I started podcasting. I give all the credit to Gary Vaynerchuk, Vayner Nation, whatever you want to call this dude. That's who inspired me. Because this opportunity of having a podcast show is tremendous. So I'm going to break it down for you just a little bit. Number one, I would have never been able to do it without the app called Anchor. I would also never be able to do it without my team at 13th Avenue Media. This podcast is powered by 13th Avenue Media, which means I'm going to record this right now on Zoom. It takes the video clip on Zoom and the audio clip, and I email it to Anish, who happens to be in Dubai. But this is 2021, everybody, where we can do work with others that don't even live in the same country with us. It's called technology. So he produces the show. Now, we don't have to do much because we have a lot of work to do at 13th Avenue Media. But podcasting is just like, you have to upload it. You have to do a promotion about it, which you always see for the Dr. Whisperer podcast. It's every Monday at the same time. It's sponsored by Jim at Thai Technology, who's incredible, who offers the first 3 months for free if you mention Thai Technology from this podcast show. So I get all heated and excited when I'm talking about podcast, because really and truly, if it wasn't for Anchor, which is really the app that has allowed us to do these podcasts with minimal work. Okay. Let me break that down for you. There is no way in hell that I would have been able to do this show if it wasn't for Anchor. So pre-Zoom, pre-pandemic, when Gary Vaynerchuk started talking about Anchor, and I believe it was in 2018, because I think that's when I started the shows, because I do have more than one. I listened to him go on and on and on about Anchor. And finally, I was like, all right, let me look into this. I don't even have the time to do a podcast show as well as all the other things. But he kept making these really great points that I'm going to bring up to you today in this show to help you to consider. Maybe I should have a podcast. Maybe I should be the host of a show that amplifies other people's businesses. Maybe that's a great idea to bring value to others. Okay, so what Anchor does, which has since been bought out by Spotify. You heard of that one? Spotify? Yeah, it's a good one. So thank God nobody else uses this microphone, because I just spit all over it. But it's that kind of day for me, people. I am, because I'm going somewhere fancy in a few. I'm going to the Pelican, darling. I'll be having lunch with a client who's a friend and a client, and we'll be dining at the Pelican. So I haven't been fancy in a while, so I'm preparing myself for it. Anyway, I digress. So Anchor is an app, okay, that allows you to record from your phone. So this is what I used to do. Now, if you're watching, you can see I'm holding my phone up. I used to take this Anchor app and I used to record people just on my phone with no video and did a podcast. Okay. Zoom has allowed us to do more, but I want to talk about why Anchor is so important to me. I didn't need any other equipment. I didn't need to log around a big microphone like the one I have in front of me right now. The sound quality was so incredible. I could call via the app a doctor in Texas. I'm thinking of all the doctors that I've interviewed outside of Tampa Bay. Or I would bring it with me if I was with, a client, and I would just record us and we'd make it a podcast show. But the great thing about it was that it distributes all of these shows to Apple, Spotify, um, Anchor, every podcast platform, Google. I don't even know what they're called, but in one click, it distributes them all by themselves. So say podcasting is the only thing you're doing, I get it why people are so like, I got to have the very best sound quality and I have to make sure everything that I put in the show notes is perfection. But if you're somebody like me who doesn't just do podcasting and is consulting and speaking at events and running a media company, well, the team is running this media company. Let me be clear. Without my team, I would be nothing. So really and truly, Anchor just made it easy. I have driven in my car with Alyssa, my digital media specialist at 13th Avenue, to a client's office in Sarasota and recorded a podcast. We need content, everybody. Okay. And it becomes very difficult sometimes when you are busy, when you are an entrepreneur, when you are a doctor, when you are running a few businesses, to find the time to do these things. But for example, I am a little early getting ready before I go to this luncheon, darling. And I don't know why it makes me talk like this, but it makes me feel very proper. So I figured I would just do this now because this show has to be ready, promoted, and produced by Monday. And today is Thursday. So, I mean, I've done shows an hour before they've been put out, it's a hustle. It's a hustle being an entrepreneur. So you have to do what you can do. But Anchor made it so easy that it was just a no-brainer. And I always loved the things that Gary Vaynerchuk said, which still hold true to this day, that if you can become the host of the party, which is what I'm the host of this party, this show, so people are going to want to know maybe what my brand is and what I do and what services I provide. I end up interviewing somebody on my show. We develop a relationship. And before you know it, maybe we're doing business together. It's happened many times. So there's like 145 million the last time I looked at the stats of how many people are listening to podcasts today. And now with these wonderful technologies that are provided, these wonderful platforms, not technologies, like Zoom, you can put a video to it. So now when I interview somebody on the show, you see somebody else that joins me, which is great because then it's, not the Sharon show, which is never what I wanted. I always wanted to give somebody else a platform to promote what they're doing. Being someone that has done PR in the medical industry for so long, it becomes very difficult for people to get their brand out there. But now with these nuances, these platforms, I don't even know where these words are coming from today. I think it's my cold. Can you hear my cold? I'm not on meds, I swear. So I think that having these opportunities like podcasting just gives us more opportunity to expose other businesses, to give other people value. So you can be that host of the party. And it's my brand that's going out every week. The Dr. Whisperer presents Dr. Shlomo. The Dr. Whisperer presents, last week I had this really great marketing company on. We talk about the business of medicine here a lot. And podcasting has just been really wonderful. I've had people say to me, don't you think it's a little saturated now? No, I don't. There are podcasts that I like to listen to. I like to listen to Dax Shepard. I like to listen to The Last Day. I like to listen to The Hilarious World of Depression. I like to listen not as much to Jay Shetty because I don't know what happened there. I'll be honest. I'll just say that I thought way too many commercials. I'm not big, like I have a sponsor. I'm willing to have more than one sponsor, but it probably would only be, well, it would definitely only be somebody that I thought aligned well with my brand, like Thai Technology. But I also would want, and a company that has integrity, that I believe in what they're doing, all of that stuff. But also, I don't want this too commercialized. Like the purpose behind this is to give value to the person I'm interviewing. because I realize, as somebody, as I was mentioning before, that's been in PR for a long time, how expensive it is, how difficult it is to get your message out in the news, right? And today we don't need to wait for that. We don't need to go on, Channel 8 or whatever freaking channel you're on. I mean, it's still great if you get to go on there for free. I'm not a believer in paid advertisement on news channels. Sorry, not sorry. But there's just too much out there today. I mean, look at things like carpool karaoke. That's probably not even the right way to say it. But that show that is on television after 11 p.m. that I'm never ever in a million years going to watch. I'm going to watch maybe the YouTube video, and he's been able to just amass so many followers because he took the show outside of the show, outside of that platform, and brought it to these other platforms. So sponsoring a podcast today is like one of the best things that you could do for your business. I can't tell you how many times I have listened to a podcast like a Dax Shepard, and they say, they promote crazy little things like underwear for your husband. And I've bought it with the coupon code that they provide. And it's very inexpensive in comparison to some of the big paid conglomerates that are out there that want you to, even do a print ad. I mean, I'm sorry. I know I say this and I get so much shit from people that I love that own magazines. But in this world that we're living in 2021, there are just so many things that we can do that are not so costly. And when you're a new business or a small business or a doctor where everybody thinks that you just have a money tree in the backyard, you don't. You need to be more creative with your marketing dollars. So I believe podcasting is such an incredible avenue for you to choose. I mean, if you're a doctor and you can carve out a half hour of your time to interview other specialists that you refer to, or and then choose one show a month like I do to provide value about the business of medicine, which is hopefully what you are getting right now, listening to me talking about podcasting. um it's a half hour of your time. Who doesn't have a half hour of their time? Now, I've had many clients say to me that they're going to start their podcast, and it sounds like this. Nothing. Crickets. They don't do it because it's a commitment. It's a commitment, and you have to be consistent. No matter what happens, there's always going to be a podcast on this show. There's always going to be content pushed out weekly, whether, a guest cancels on me last minute, which has happened many times. And I have to get creative, and maybe I'll do like a Monday mashup, and I'll take videos and podcasts from before and put them together with 13th Avenue Media, and we put a show out there. It's consistency, and you absolutely have to have that. But for sure, if you know a lot of people and you have a decent network, you will have no problem interviewing people. And it has been a really great way for me to meet people. I've interviewed people from out of this country. I just interviewed somebody from London. I've interviewed people from Ireland. I've interviewed people from Norway. It's really great, and it's great for your business, and it's great for your brand. It's also great for content. So many people struggle with, like, how am I going to push out content? Well, doing a podcast and doing these videos and cutting them up. I have my team right now working on cutting up a show that I did last month about my Meet the Neighbors event, because I'm hosting another one. So I want to put out a minute of that show to bring you value, to tell you why you should join something like that. So podcasting with the video behind it, massive. My brother has a show, and he uses Twitch as his platform to put it out. He's a lot younger than me, so Twitch speaks to him. But it's also about sport, so it makes a lot of sense to do it on that platform. Anchor has done all the work for us. We don't have to distribute this anywhere. We had to, in the beginning, send our links and get it on Apple and get it on Spotify and get it approved. But it only took a little while. It didn't take long. And Anchor is not the only one. It's just the one that I love. And I've been committed to. So I will always promote and talk about Anchor FM. now owned by Spotify. And who didn't know that was going to happen? I mean, for sure, it was such an incredible avenue for so many people that didn't have the means. It's a free app. So it's really just making a decision that that's what you want to do. Interviewing your clients, giving them a platform to share. Really, it's just incredible. But you have to make a commitment. I know too many people that have started them and stopped, and it's okay. I'm not mad at you. I'm just saying that every single thing that you do, that you commit for your brand, is your reputation. So if you show consistency, you'll be more likely to get a following. If you don't, then people will drop off after a while, and you have to bring them value. Can't be about you all the time. So I would suggest highly you consider podcasting if you're in the healthcare industry. If you have a talent that you can share, and then you ask other people to be on your show and just ask them a few questions. It's really not that hard. But for some reason, people don't seem to do it. And I think you're missing a big opportunity. Clubhouse will be another show that I do down the line. I'm in the middle of testing. I'm almost at 200 followers on Clubhouse. It's a commitment. I spend time there while I'm like getting ready or doing my hair or driving, getting engaged in these conversations. But Clubhouse has been a really great way for me to find guests to be on my show. There's no way of direct messaging somebody on Clubhouse. So you have to go to their Instagram, which is another way to get more followers on your Instagram. Listen, people, there's a lot going on out here. There's a lot happening. There's a lot that goes into getting guests and understanding that they might cancel, and understanding that you have to do work and you have to promote it and you have to get their bios and you have to get their headshots, but it is worth it. It really and truly is, especially if you can obtain sponsors. And you could provide an avenue for your sponsor to get more attention, especially if it's a newer business. I mean, nothing makes me feel better than sharing about new businesses with all of you. So if you are on the fence about it, I highly recommend it. And I brought up Clubhouse for two reasons. Number one, it's a great way to get guests. But number two, this is a huge Audible platform that I'm a big fan of. And I can see what's happening. If it's taking away time from me to go on Clubhouse away from my podcast, I'm thinking this is really, really big. Clubhouse is a space that everybody should be testing. You can only test it right now if you have an iPhone and you need an invite. So hit me up if you need one. But I'll be very selective about who I choose. But again, this isn't about Clubhouse. It's about podcasting, but it is an Audible platform. The whole world is Audible right now. I love Audible. I listen to all my books on Audible. I listen to podcasts all the time. I don't wait for anything anymore. We're living in an on-demand world. So if you don't think that you could put something like this out to benefit your business, you are wrong. And if you need a company to produce it, you should hit us up on 13th Avenue Media. It's not that hard, but it's a commitment. So if you're committed to getting your brand out there, if you're committed to doing the work, this is one, for sure, 100% platform that I have believed in forever. I've been doing the Dr. Whisperer podcast since 2018. I have 13th Avenue Media, and now I also have the Broken Road to Mental Health, which is just specific to addiction and mental health. But it gives an opportunity to help other people. Why wouldn't I spend that time doing that? And it also helps me to have these conversations. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you consider it. Check out Anchor. We'll put it in the show notes. Play around with it, test it. Try. The first time I ever used Anchor and did a podcast show, I tested it with Deb Ward, the Irish realtor, because I didn't know if it was going to work. So I had to test it. And I always recommend, you have to inspect what you expect. So get out there, try it out. Podcasting, it's huge, and it's not oversaturated. There are so many out there that I haven't even listened to that I know I just can't fit in my podcast library right now. There's too many. But I hope that this was helpful to you. If you ever have any questions about podcasting, please feel free to hit me up. I'd be more than happy to give you as much value as possible. And thank you for joining. And, check out Thai Technology, man. Follow them on social, thebomb.com. Nobody knows like me about phone systems and how important they are for your business. So you want a good company like them. I love Thai technology. Can you tell? Peace out.
So don't forget, if you mention that you have seen the show or listened to the podcast, Thai Technology, 3 months for free.